accounts. We can use split accounts for field numbers. Default budget. If I built a budget in, we can add a budget later. I have not actually experimented with budgets, although as I'm looking at doing some advertising type stuff, that's something I'm going to be implementing into my personal accounts very soon. Let's do company name here. So we'll call this, let's call this our new corp. And with our new corp, then we want to give it an address. Let's just call this 123 Main Street. And if you guys didn't know this, Franklin is the most common city name in the world, in the United States at least. Some people think it's Springfield. It is actually Franklin. Let's just say Franklin, PA, because I'm in PA, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Although Franklin, PA does exist, and it doesn't have that zip code, but oh well. Okay, so who is our company contact person? Of course, switched to Linux will be our personal company phone number. What's my phone number? 123-456-7890. That is really my phone number, guys. I mean, don't spam me, please. Company fax number, if you have one. What's our email address? email@email.com is my email address, of course. Website. We're going to call this ournewcorp.com, and we don't really need a company ID. Tax tables, vendor tax tables. We can change these later if we need to, and then formatting for date, we can use custom. We can just kind of pick, here's like the US. If you're in Europe or UK, you can grab one of those. So just grab one of these guys here, or you can create the formatting yourself. You can include the century if you want. Numbers, or you can do abbreviations, or you can do names. So whatever you want. I generally like to use numbers. You can see what the bottom is down there. Actually, I don't know. This is pretty nice too. Let's just go ahead and stick with abbreviations. Okay, so we also have under counters. Now, this is where if you start out a company with nothing in here, you know, you'll start out, you never really want to issue a bill with number 1. So you go into open a personal bank account here in the United States. They give you check 101. If you open a business account, they give you a check 1001 is the first one. We never really want to start with that. So the bill number, and hover over each of these, previous bill number generated, this number will be incremented to generate the next bill number. So I'll just do kind of some random numbers down here. So customer number, I'm going to pick like 3 for the vendor, employee, and customer numbers. Let's do 4 for that. These are not, it's really the only reason we're doing this is just so that it's harder to track from an outsider's perspective. We don't want somebody to think they're the very first person to ever have this invoice, you know. So we're just going to put in some things in that way as you cycle and increment up whatever else. We're going to do that. So U.S. currency, of course, pick your currency, whatever it happens to be. We are United States where I'm doing this tutorial. So that is what we're going to do next. So choose accounts to create. This is why we wanted to run through this thing. We could have done everything else without a problem, but this here will actually create all of the different accounts that we want. So you can come in here and you can do, you know, a simple checkbook if you're doing this for personal. Here's like a business accounts. So the business accounts, here's cash in your wallet, checking, savings account. There's equities, opening balances. So you might create a new one of these every year, carrying your older balances in for the newer balances. You know, here's just some basic information in there. We can do, let's see, here's a car loan, child care expenses. So there's a variety of different things that you can pick inside of this. Let's go ahead and clear all, and then we don't want to do that. Clear all. Let's just do our business accounts. We will always want to be doing some fine tweaking and things. Set up these selected accounts. I'm going to go ahead and make this guy a little bit bigger here. All right, so this is where we want to select what type of accounts do we actually want to use. So anything that we leave out here, let's see, I got to remember if this is going to create the accounts or if it's just going to set them up. So I'm just going to look through here and what types of things do we want to set up. The more that you have, the better. The bigger the breakdown for your accountant, the better off we're going to be. So in my case here, the only ones that I would include here are internet. Everything else for me, I take a percentage deduction out of my home office. The phone is a 50% deduction out because it's half business, half phone, but internet is, I can write off 100% of that for my personal business. All right, so travel and entertainment. This is an interesting category that you want to separate. Now, these used to be together under US law. You used to be able to write out 50% of your meals and entertainment. As of this past year, 2019 taxes, you can no longer write off, I think it's actually 2018, can't remember. One of those 2 years, 18 or 19, you can no longer write off anything by entertainment. You can only write off meals. So you absolutely want to make sure that you are separating your meals and your entertainment if you're doing personal type stuff. Over here, depending on whether what type of taxes you need to do, like if you have employees and things out of your business, you're going to need to do FICA. In my case, since I run as a sole member LLC, I do not have to do that. That gets taken out separate. If you were to own your buildings and you have to pay for repairs, you can do that. Rent is something that I can tackle down, although I do not. Professional fees, I do hire an accountant, so that I want to have that one as well. Postage and delivery, printing and reproduction. I don't do payroll expenses at this point in time. Outside services, office supplies. I don't like using miscellaneous categories. They're too flaggable for the IRS. So I make sure everything fits somewhere other than miscellaneous. Miscellaneous raises too many red flags. All right, licenses and permits. Where I started my company, we had to have business licenses. Where I live now, we don't, so I leave those out. Insurances, you can include or exclude those. Education, dues and subscriptions. I don't need dining. I don't do basic depreciation. I do the front end depreciation instead. Charity, books, bank service charges, and then anything else you might need, just go ahead and select. So those are those ones there. So accounts, let's do an accounts receivable. We might need to add an accounts payable to it. So all we're basically doing here is checking which accounts that we want to use and get completely set up from the get-go. All right, there's also ones for income as well. Here's maybe interest. There's other sales, things like that. Oh, here's our accounts payable. There it is. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hit next and apply. Now, when this is done, it's going to have us save the file somewhere. We're just going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to create a new folder, and we're going to call this GnuCash. And why that wanted to change that to that is because of the system that I had. We're just going to call this our new corp and save. Now, what that's going to do is that's going to save the file and our documents and our GnuCash, and our file is this one here. So we have a .GnuCash file. Literally, all you need to do is have a copy of this file to transfer your books, although doing it through the backup in the software would be better. So now we are on our main screen here. Let me see what else I want to look at. I think what we're going to do is, I don't want to go any longer than this video's already been, so we're going to wrap it up here. So the next one, we're going to come up into business. We're going to create customers, vendors, employees, and show you how to use the invoices, the jobs, and things like that. So just briefly here, you can see that what we have set up here, we have our variety of different accounts are set up. So maybe next time we'll go in and talk a little bit more about what each of these are, but I think we might actually wait until we have invoices set up to get this stuff figured out. So this is just a start. Now, of course, if you need to add a new bank account after this, you want to hit the create a new account here. And with this screen here, you're going to determine is it an income or an expense account. And then from here, let me expand this guy out if I can. See a little bit better. So you can create a new top level account, or you can put it under each of these. So based upon which one of these top heading categories you have, you'll have a variety of different account types you can pick from. You can see income, we'll have income or expenses. Under our expenses, we'll have those. Under our assets, we can have a bank account, cash account, credit cards, liabilities, stocks, mutual funds. Under liabilities, we can also have the same. And then you just create the accounts, create the code, make sure that there's one of these, I think which one of them is absolutely required. You'll figure it out if you do it. You can also delete an account over here, and then you can also edit any given account that you're on just by clicking the edit button at the top. So there's a brief overview to the creating your account. Next time we will go over looking at how to create the customers, the jobs, the invoices, the vendors, and things like that.